What is going on, everybody? We are live on the field at Bank of America Stadium for our post-game show. A little thing that we do after the game every week, right? Carolina, unfortunately, it fell to the good old-fashioned Minnesota Vikings by a score of 21-13 and are now 0-4 on the year. Not a good way to start out this show or really the season, right? But nevertheless, hope all of you are hanging in there. I'm Andre Casseday, alongside the man of the people, Chris Jenkins. How are you feeling right now, man?
I'm feeling, we're going to get to some things that's on Andre and I's mind. But first, we've got to get a few things out the way. Like and subscribe to the video, all right? We go live for the reason of interacting with you fans of the Carolina Panthers. So also, I want to strongly encourage you to get used to clicking on the link that should be in the description. That link will allow you to come onto this show right now, at this moment, vent, ask a question, whatever it is that you may be. We are here for you. Okay, I really want to emphasize that this show is live because we want you all to come on and interact with us, ask us your questions. And we also are doing something each and every single week because we knew it was going to be a long season and we knew people were going to need a reason to tune in and to be happy talking to Andre and I. So we're giving away Carolina Panthers merchandise each and every single week. That information will also always be in the description for you all to come online and go online and register for those giveaways. We've done 2 so far.
Okay.
We got one that we're going to give away later today. I won't go to do it live because we've had so many problems live. And we'll get into the show. But before we get too much into it, is there something you got on your chest?
On my chest, or just how I'm feeling? I mean, I feel like we've had quite the obstacles today, just from all sorts of different players and people and
Andre's
Mother
been nice.
Nature,
He's been nice.
right?
So we had a terrible time going live pregame. We tried it 3 different times.
At least 3 different times.
Well, we tried 3 different locations, probably tried about 10 times. And we finally just said, heck, we're going to go live from our phone, and that's what we did.
We did that.
The game ends. We're doing our usual hustle and bustle.
Getting onto the field,
We're dressed like we're professionals, and we get denied to get on the field.
Mainly, I got denied.
My man got denied.
And I'm over here like, denied? What do you mean? We've been doing this since last season, and why is this now becoming an issue to where I can't get onto the field? Reporting for all of you out there, trying to do our humble duty, covering the Carolina Panthers, right? We got to make a couple calls here and there, talk to our people,
we had to make a call.
Security apparatus, right? And we were able to make it on the field comfortably without any issues after that. But man, I was a little fired up coming onto the field, getting set up here, because I'm like, why is this now becoming an issue? And I guarantee you, there's probably bunches of other people who probably had that same, indicator on their badge.
Same challenge that you may have, but not challenge?
I guess, but that's neither here nor there. We are here today to talk about the Panthers. It's not about our off-the-field struggles or on-the-field struggles right now as we try to make it onto the field, but we are here indeed. Carolina falling to 0-4 today. Not the kind of start that you want to have. Again,
regarding that matter though, can I give a big shout out to the people who answered the phone?
Yes,
that
more
came
than anything else.
Quickly to our rescue and got us on the field. So there's a team of people that makes this go, and shout out to those people. I didn't put in my earpiece.
I forgot to put one in too.
You can put yours in.
Go ahead and
so we're going to go ahead and get through this. Invite you guys to call, but let's go ahead and get started. So. What do you do first, injuries or photos? You got the injury updates for everything?
Let's do the injuries.
Let's go ahead and let you do while you do the injuries, I'll plug in my earpiece.
Okay.
Is this long enough? We need to get you an extension, do we?
Hey, it will make it.
Okay.
I'll find a way, right?
I'll give a few shout outs. By the way, our memberships is open. So if you have not become a member to help support us and this independent media thing that we do, we're 100% supported by you guys. So any memberships help, super chats are welcome as well.
Okay, but now to the injuries here. Really the main injury today was Dante Jackson, who had a shoulder injury sustained in the, I believe it was at the beginning of the second quarter. He did not return in today's game. That'll be something that they'll be following through with over the coming days. A couple other players who got hurt during the game, but were able to make it back in. Adam Thielen, who had some sort of knee, he was able to back in towards the end of the first half. And there was another one as well that I'm blanking on about. But
You're laughing blank because you're probably still pissed off a little bit.
But that's really the only major injury today was Dante Jackson. Compared to last week, I think that would be a plus that we only had really one injury today, because it seemed like anybody and everybody in the Seahawks game fell victim to the injury bug. So we'll take it, but that's still a pretty big loss not having Dante Jackson out there. And again, we'll have updates on his condition throughout the week as we continue to learn more about his situation.
Okay, and I'll do you a favor, and I'll let you take that earpiece out until we get somebody, because it just looks like it's weird. It's my fault for not getting you the longer cord so it could be hidden behind your back like it is mine. You know what? We're men of the people. It's called honorary man of the people. So I'm going to go ahead and jump to a few comments, because we don't want you all to wait to be a part of this show. And then we're going to go through some other great photos that we have. I like this person's name, Nah.
That's straightforward right
they
there.
prove otherwise, the wrong coach and quarterback was picked. So I'm going to touch on that. The wrong coach and quarterback was picked. So do want to remind you, even though it's tough coming down on this field and talking to you all about the Panthers when they're losing week after week, this actually technically makes it how many in a row? 7.
7.
Because we lost all 3 preseason. It's been 7 games. I have traveled to New York. I skipped the travel to Seattle.
Okay.
I've traveled to Atlanta. Next week I will travel to Detroit. It ain't too much fun. But what I do have to say, it's only 4 weeks, and you just want to see some improvement happening. I feel like most importantly, you can't say it's too young. I'm doing like you, pun intended, right? It's too early in the season to talk about Bryce Young not being the right pick. He is obviously going to have some learning, some bumps in the road as he learns. Now, I know a lot of people in this day and age, we want instant gratification, instant satisfaction. You can look in Houston and say, hey, he's doing well. Well, that's good for him, but it's not unusual for a quarterback to kind of take some weeks to get going. So is Bryce improving? Yeah, he is. But is he improving at the rate that we wished and thought he would? No, we're not. But were we overly excited about what he should be able to do?
Oh, absolutely.
Yes, we undoubtedly were. So I feel like just be patient, Bryce. If this guy has shown so much poise, so much high IQ, then obviously this game of football that they play is not that easy. It's not that easy with guys that are 300 pounds to come at you and know where to go instantly and have everything figured out. Now, in terms of Frank Reich, I'll let you comment on that. I don't want to hog it up. What do you think on the Frank Reich part of that comment?
I think it's also too soon to say about Frank Reich. Obviously, with people clamoring for his job now, it just shows you how poorly of a start this season has been. Again, we have not won at any point, preseason or regular season. So let me just touch base on what he said at the end of his presser, too. This is a results-driven league. People don't care about progress. People don't care about building blocks. Have you done it? Have you won football games? And right now, they haven't won anything so far. So really, it just comes down to going out on Sundays and getting the job done. And right now, he hasn't. And part of the reason why there's so much angst against him is because nobody thought we'd be this bad, quite frankly. There was a lot of hope and optimism coming into the year that has seemingly gone out of the doors at Bank of America Stadium and all the doors amongst the households here in the Carolinas. It's out the window right now. And again, another dose of reality has been given to us here today.
Yeah, so let's go ahead and keep those comments coming. There's a link in the description. If not, did you pin that link, by the way?
I did. I sure did.
Andre pinned that link in the comments as well, so we want you all to come on the show. Let us know your vent to us, be pissed off, say stuff that we can. No, I can't say that because we still want this show to be PG-13.
Got to keep it family friendly, right?
We want you to let us know what you're thinking. Let's go ahead and get to some of these great photos that we have from today from our great photographer, Patrick Snyder. Let's see. Here we go.
What we got? So we have. Oh, you got your brightness up? Let me turn that up real quick.
I really didn't want you to turn my brightness up, but I'll help you out.
Okay.
That's Bryce getting sacked there by a member of the Minnesota Vikings team with Ikem Ekwonu getting beaten. I don't know whoever beat him already, but he's looked like he's about to get sacked there. We'll go to the next picture here.
We got Kirk Cousins being chased down by Amare Barno, and a guy that we have seen now for the first time this season, DJ Johnson. That's a first.
Oh, wow, that is DJ Johnson in there, huh?
DJ Johnson in there for today's game. So that was a question a lot throughout the week, this past week. Are they going to get DJ Johnson involved more in defensive side of things? And this is his first game out there today, and he had a couple of key plays, throughout the game today. So it was good to see him out there because, again, if you're going to invest in somebody and trade up for somebody like a DJ Johnson, you better have him out there on the field, or else you're going to be getting a lot of questions as to why you made that deal to get him if he's not even out on the field playing. And then this next one here is Bryce Young, and I believe that is Harrison Smith on that fourth down play towards the end of the game. Really, Carolina's last shot of really trying to tie the game up, and it was a blitz off of the left side, and Akeem Ekwonu got beat again on that same drive, and that basically killed any realistic shot that Carolina had of tying the game. They were down by 8 points, so they, for one, needed to get a touchdown, and then the other part of the equation, go for two to try to tie it up. And unfortunately, in those obvious passing downs, they could not protect Bryce Young in those situations there. And then here's another one where I believe, again, that is Harrison Smith getting free off of the right side, sacking Bryce Young. And again, that's just another one of those, hey, what was the protection like? Did they communicate the protections accordingly? Because obviously there was some sort of mishap there, because literally in 2 seconds after the ball was snapped, Bryce Young ended up on the ground. And then we also have another, and you see the themes, ladies and gentlemen, you see the themes. Bryce Young was on the field for all the wrong reasons, getting sacked, getting a lot of pressures up in his face, and we'll have the final number for how many times he was sacked in today's game. But there was definitely an impact on the defensive side of things from Minnesota's perspective, where they were effectively able to get after Bryce Young. And Carolina was able to get after Kirk Cousins as well early in the first half.
Here's a guy that we're going to talk about here in the stats that had a pretty good game, Yetur.
Yeah, Yetur Gross-Matos. And again, Amare Barno in the picture there, getting some pressure on Kirk Cousins. Again, the tale of two halves. They were able to get some pressure on him in the first half, and in the second half, they were able to make those adjustments to free up Kirk Cousins and have time to throw the ball. And again, Bryce Young on the field for all the wrong reasons again, getting sandwiched by two Vikings defenders there. So again, it's just been a disturbing theme throughout, where it's a combination of receivers not getting open and then the protection faltering when those receivers aren't getting free and gaining any separation. So again, a very disturbing theme that we've seen throughout. Adam Thielen there on the reception on this image here. He had a pretty respectable game, not as big of a game as he did last week, but he definitely held his own and was really one of the more consistent options for the Panthers and the receiving side of things as well. Definitely a big game for him as he played against his former team. Jeez, I feel like we're just on repeat right now with the amount of images we see, bless you, Chris, of Bryce Young getting sacked. And again, it's just another one of those situations. And they game planned throughout the week about it, and they said it in the presser after the game, like they knew that Minnesota was going to go after Bryce Young. And unfortunately today, they were successful in that. And there was a Justin Jefferson touchdown there over the rookie Deshaun Jameson, who was filling in for Dante Jackson there. Pardon the sneezing in the background there, but hey, it happens, right?
Wow.
It happens. And I think he's going in for another one. Look at the light, my guy. Look at the light. But Justin Jefferson, while he did have a relatively quiet game, he was still able to make an impact in today's game with, I believe he had 2 touchdowns today.
I believe I'm trying to hold on desperately to not crying during this show. So my man Andre may carry a lot of this post-game show because my allergies are kicking my butt out here with sneezing and crying and all kinds of stuff. Andre's going to have a heck of a book to write if he can tell you about my post-game, my pre-game sneezing and everything. It was pretty bad, but I'm going to try to make it through here. Continue to hit those thumbs up. Like this video, helps other Carolina Panther fans find out about the show. Don't get too timid with coming on to the show. We appreciate you doing so. You can use your phone, you can use your computer, anything that you have with a camera that's connected to the internet.
Yes.
Come on the show, talk to us, let us know how you feel about this Carolina Panthers team. Let's go ahead and hit another comment, and then we'll go into some of the stats that we have.
Let's do it.
Richter
AG.
I'm going to need Deuce to explain to us why Miles Sanders has the vision of a blind man. So Miles, to me, didn't have any place to go today.
He did not.
They did a lot of Miles up the middle, and Miles had no place to go. He dances around, obviously, more than Chuba dances around. Chuba kind of goes straight at it, full speed, lowers his shoulders a little bit. Not exactly the style for Miles, but you know, that's also, it's 11 guys that play. So a lot of times when we're first looking at something, you might say, why did this player, why is Bryce not throwing it to anyone? Well, it could be nobody's open. Why is Miles not getting any yards? Well, it could be the line's not blocking. So you got to sometimes think about the bigger picture of everything, the bigger scope of things to understand why things are going for this team. As difficult as they are going, I can say there's not one piece that we're missing from making this team a competitive team. We have a lot of pieces. But Richter, appreciate the comment. We're going to go ahead and jump into some of the stats from today.
Okay.
Which we feel like it always tells the story of the game. Just like my bag over there and everything on the floor that you guys can't see tells the story of my day. I don't know if the family's watching yet because I know we had some trouble getting on earlier today. So I'm just going to take a moment to say shout outs to Mrs. Jenkins.
Yes.
She did not have the baby yet. I haven't gotten any text of that happening. She's at home taking care of our 2.5 children at the moment, as that other one seems like she's going to come early. So, again, thank you, Andre, for holding things down for me twice this week, was it?
I think so, twice, yep.
So look forward to at least you bailing me out at least one more time as the Jenkins family expects their upcoming child, their first daughter to come. But meanwhile, we're going to continue to keep you guys up to date. So let's go ahead and go into these stats, all right?
Let's do it.
Tells the story of the game. Bryce Young, 25 of 32, 204 yards. We got 6.4 yard average, no TDs. He was sacked five times. All 5 of those sacks being in the second half. Wells, I see that you are trying to join our broadcast. I have brought you into the green room, but I don't see any video of you yet, so I can't bring you on until I see your video, but once that video pops on, then we'll bring you in. So let's talk about these stats. 204 yards. And again, I am pet peeved about why ESPN continues to show the total yards is incorrect on the screen. It shows 149. I have no idea why. It's the 204 that's up above.
We're going to have to launch an investigation into that. That will be our mission, to find out why that's the case every week. We'll have an answer for you on that relatively soon.
Yeah,
we'll do some research on that.
We need Wells, I'm going to kick you off, but I'm going to invite you to come back on. Again, you came on without any video, so whenever you all come on, it's just going to ask you for your name, and then you have to turn on your camera. I think it's one little icon that it'll hit.
Yep.
I forget what that part of the system looks like. And then you can come on. All right, T. Wells is trying to come back on again.
All right.
Let's see. Looks like I don't know if you have any video. I'll try to bring you on in a second here. Here's something I want to play for you guys, though. So just remember that stat on Bryce. 204 yards, about a 6.4 yard average. Didn't have any deep passes.
For offensively is to build upon what we did well last week. We're talking about specifically some of the plays being made down the field with the explosive pass game. Had 5 of those. Also, the no turnovers was a huge deal. But also gearing up for a coordinator who is, I would say, unconventional when it comes to how he calls the game. Heavy pressure packages, having 0 answers.
So today's objective from one Thomas Brown, and I'm not playing this to say that he's bad, but I'm just playing it to show like this was the known thing by the team. They are not oblivious to what took place in Seattle last week. They had what he said were 5 big plays.
Yep.
I hadn't looked that detail of the stat breakdown, but I feel like we had one today.
The longest pass that he had was 22 yards.
So that's one. And so we came up 4 short of what we did last week. Well, stay put, man. I'm definitely going to bring you on here in a second. The other thing was eliminating the turnovers. Now, that's a stat that I did not print out, but I'm sure my great co-host may be looking at the stats for turnovers today. I know Bryce had
He had one fumble.
He had one fumble.
And then as a team, we had.
He only had one fumble?
It was just one fumble. And that was in the third quarter. And they were about to score on that drive, which was why it hurt so much, right? And that was the only turnover that we had in that game. And that was the beginning of the collapse of the Carolina Panthers in the second half, right on script in the third quarter. And we'll talk about that more in a moment.
All right.
But that's where things were.
I'm going to rudely cut off my co-host. I don't want to leave Wells waiting. Let's bring Wells on, see what he has to say. Hey, he got on the Panthers jersey.
Man.
I like that.
What's going on, fellas? How you feeling?
Hey, we got, I mean, just so you know, we aren't the happiest people as well. So we're glad that you guys can come on and, I mean, whether you're happy or not, share something with us.
Yeah, first off, I want to come on and say, man, I appreciate the great content. I really you guys give some great insider information about the team. I really appreciate that, though. But
Thank you.
I'm frustrated, man.
I hear it.
I'm frustrated. It started with the bad ending for Ron Rivera. Then we're going to Matt Rule. Now we're going to this part here with this. I don't know if it's coaching staff or the ownership or whatever, but it's frustrating because every week you're excited to watch a team on the product, but nothing seems to work out correctly. Other organizations do or get better every week. I just don't know, man. I have no words to say right now, and it sucks.
Yeah, and earlier we mentioned about being patient and saying it's only 4 games in. At the same time, man, I guarantee you, I totally understand that as a fan. You're like, it's hard to be patient for 4 games because you've had so much crap to deal with this season, last season. You saw Wilkes come in, turn his team around, and then they usher him out the door and bring on this new team. So, I mean, it's hard not to be frustrated. Anything else you got for us?
No, man. I know you don't want to look ahead, but I don't see us getting to Detroit this week, man. I don't, man. I'm not apologizing for that. It really sucks, man. It really sucks.
Hey, appreciate you coming on, man, and hopefully you'll come back on again.
Yeah, I will. No doubt.
And again, we're trying to be everybody's our virtual couch to come on and release your therapy. Thanks so much for coming in to the show today.
Good having you on, man.
So, I'm not looking forward to Detroit. I won't say that. I am looking forward to Detroit because here's what's going to happen. We are not going 0-17. It's not going to happen. So at some point, it's going to be like, whoa!
I really hope that ages well. Oh, man.
We're going to get that victory that we didn't know that we were going to get, and we're going to be happy for a minute. Let's continue to go through this again. Wells, appreciate you coming in onto the show. Everybody else, that link is still in the description, also pinned to the comments. Would love to hear from you guys. So I cut you off as you were talking about the passing. I don't know if you had much more to go on that with Bryce Young here in these stats.
Just to touch base on what Frank said, too, to bring a little bit of some context to those numbers. A lot of people were asking about Bryce's performance today and how he did. And he said that, he threw the ball very accurately today. He moved in the pocket well, and he was able to show some moments where there were poise, in situations where, hey, you thought he was going to get sacked, and then he was able to come out and make a play and create something out of nothing in those kinds of situations. So the numbers do indicate that he was more accurate, but they also indicate that the limitations in the offense with Bryce Young in there are still apparent. And so you're seeing a lot of these plays where, they're just not opening up the field. I mean, he had an average today of about 6 yards per pass. So a little bit better for him, but it wasn't as good as what they were able to do last week with Andy Dalton. So there's still, again, room for improvement. And while he did play cleaner despite the 1 turnover, again, it's a building block, and they need to continue to show results because progress doesn't mean anything until you show the results on the field.
All right, I'm going to mix in another comment here. Keep the comments coming. Keep the comments coming. Jarius Barringer says, Frank is terrible. Bryce is likely a bust. So I'll take this one.
Okay.
Bryce is still a rookie quarterback, right? So it would be lovely for him to come out here and play perfect football. But tell me this, even quarterbacks that aren't rookies, that aren't in their very first year in the NFL, tell me how many of them are playing great games that you're expecting Bryce Young to be playing right now.
Even third-year quarterbacks as well. I'm thinking of one right now, Justin Fields. He's still struggling up there in Chicago, and that's still a debate as to whether or not it's a situation or whether or not it's just personally him that's just struggling. But again, it takes time.
Yeah. We'll go on the flip side. We'll go all the way over to Denver Broncos. Russell Wilson. He did a little bit better, but they're not doing too good. I think they're probably 0-4 right now. I don't know if you're able to bring that up and look at that on the screen and see what Denver is. But I'm just saying, in reality, there's 32 quarterbacks.
Oh, they won.
Denver won?
Won by 3 today.
Wow, they came back and won that game. Congratulations, Coach
Somebody
Payton.
had to win that game,
Somebody had to win it. But, yeah, just in general, there's not 32 quarterbacks that are playing great football every Sunday. But I understand it. Carolina Panther fans have been burned. It's not the easiest place to be happy about what's going on. I'll take one more comment here. We'd like to mix them in here. Walt G., we have the potential to be a top-tier team. Walt, I think you're trying to set us up. Mm-hmm. That's optimistic, but that's extremely optimistic. When you say top tier, I would say, yeah, we have the room to improve. Top tier, not yet. We got some missing pieces.
We're probably like 3 years away from even touching that scope of reality there. But promise, yes, but we're far from that right now.
All right, let's go into another stat here. Let's go into the rushing.
Okay.
And this is a problem right here. This is a really big problem. If you look at this, Chuba Hubbard. Now, how interesting is this? Why do you think Chuba Hubbard led this team in rushing attempts today?
I felt like he ran the ball harder today.
Yeah.
Just simply put, when you look at the two and you see the run styles, right? He was just more of a physical runner today than Miles Sanders was. And he had more opportunities, too, because of the fact that he was running harder than Miles Sanders. Every time that they made a play call for Sanders up the middle, no gain, maybe a yard. But it just was not effective. And you kind of have to wonder, did that groin injury throughout the week, he was on the injury report pretty much all 3 days last week, did that have anything to do with his effectiveness in today's game? One can only speculate, but when you look at the numbers and you look at the results, you have to ask that question because he just did not seem to have the kind of game that you would expect. I mean, 13 carries for 19 yards, that's like less than an average yard per carry. It's simply just not going to get the job done. Laviska Shenault with only 1 carry, and again, we continue another week of the continued underutilization of Laviska Shenault. And I know you want to touch on this because he is your guy. Chris Jenkins, that's his guy, Laviska Shenault. Why do you feel like this conundrum of Laviska Shenault continues to permeate week after week?
Let me first go back. I'm going to comment on the Laviska thing.
Yeah.
With this Chuba, and there was a comment earlier about Deuce Staley. I feel like Chuba getting all these carries, that's a credit to Deuce Staley.
Right.
Because the position coach, the position coaches push the substitutions. The coaches call the plays, the position coaches push the substitutions. Mm-hmm. So that would have had to come from Deuce, and Chuba has been better, so they gave Chuba the ball more. So I want to give some, what I would think would be kudos to Deuce for that. And that disparity, 1.5, that's pretty awful. But Laviska, with his carry, 1. Adam Thielen with the carry, 1. I still just feel like with Laviska, I don't know, I felt like they had let me jump ahead of myself to the receiving. Laviska had 1 reception for 12 yards. I don't know, I feel like I'm seeing a different game from these stats. I feel like Laviska had more than 2 touches.
He definitely did.
Receiving and rushing, I really felt like he had more.
Just with the impact. I mean, the impact of the numbers.
That doesn't seem right.
It doesn't seem like they're meshing with each other.
I'm going to check one more place because I promise you I feel like Laviska touched the ball more than twice. Because what I was feeling like when I was watching from the press box was saying, finally, they're starting to use Laviska for these screens that we're getting tired of seeing. But instead of continuing to put Terrace Marshall or Thielen out there doing these little bubble screens to a wide receiver, why not put Laviska out there who runs like a beast? I'm going to check one more screen really quick.
Who runs like a running back, which is a reason why they need to continue to utilize him, because every time that he gets the ball, something positive always happens. So again, it's just another one of those situations where you have to wonder what is holding the coaching staff back from giving him these opportunities, because it was just one target for. There was no way.
You see the same thing, right?
I'm kind of mind blown that he only had one catch and only one target, because the impact that he had in the game felt more sufficient than what the numbers are offering here.
Yeah, I can't get to another screen, but I really felt like unless there were plays that he had to rock and then they were called back for a penalty or something, because I definitely remember there was one where there was motion that came. It was only a 2 wide receiver set up top. Motion came across, and then he stepped back and they gave him a little flare out, and he ran the ball. So nevertheless, we'll look into that more later. We'll continue to go on through the show and want to hear from you guys. So again, there's a link in the description for you all to come on the show, ask us your questions. We'd love to hear from you. We'll continue to move through these stats. Let's go ahead and touch on the rushing. I'll highlight them, and you'll comment on them if you wish, because my allergies are kicking in. I think I need a break for a second. But Adam Thielen led us with 7 receptions, 76 yards with a 10.9 average. Terrace Marshall Jr. with 9 receptions, 56 yards, 6.2. So I'm going to comment here, then I'm going to let you take it from here.
Okay.
I'm a little disappointed in my boy Terrace Marshall Jr.
Despite the fact that he had 9 catches?
He had 9 catches.
Okay.
Which were good. And maybe I have to go a little bit on the coaching staff for the plays that they're calling. But why is such a threat that you felt like is a guy who's built to not stretch the field necessarily like a chart, but a guy that you feel like he can get some jump balls, kind of play that basketball type of positioning and get some catches. He's only catching like 5-yard routes down the field. We got to do more than that with this draft pick. And then on top of that, his running after the catch looked a little bit like he hadn't been used to being out there on the field. I know he kind of got the ball and almost like the turf monster, caught him a couple of times. So for me, that says he's not yet as settled as I feel like he should be settled when he gets the ball, get his feet up on her, and try to do some rough or tough run after the catch. So I kind of felt like I didn't see enough of that from Terrace. Also saw that when Bryce scrambled a few times, he was holding the ball a long time. But there's times that not just Terrace, but a lot of his other receivers can try to help this guy out.
Right.
Like, I mean, Bryce was moving, and you're just kind of like, okay.
Like, can somebody get open, please?
No, I'm talking about like Terrace was out there, a receiver just kind of like just holding his defensive back. Get off the defensive back, get you some, like in the haul butt to trying to find an open lane for Bryce to throw you the ball. So they have to do that more. And I don't know, because something I want to ask coaches is, like, why was there such a difference with Andy, same team, than there is with, we got distracted by Jamie Robinson. That's Jamie Robinson, right?
I believe so,
I always want to call him Sammy, but I got distracted with him walking by. But why is there such a difference with Andy Dalton and Bryce? And I know they could say it's the coverage, but it doesn't matter. Like, they didn't run like man the whole time. They mixed it up in there, and Andy took some shots. Why is Bryce not taking the shots? I'm going to throw it to my guy over here.
I'm going to quote Steve Smith real quick.
There's some more stats in case you want to touch on those, the rest of them.
As we look at DJ Chark with 2 catches for 28 yards, Miles Sanders and Laviska towards the bottom of that list. But let me just quote Steve Smith real quick. The number one job as a wide receiver is what? The ability to solve a problem. They are problem solvers out there, right? If you have the opportunity to get your hands on the ball, you have got to catch it. So where am I going with this, right? Adam Thielen with 7 catches. Terrace Marshall with 9 catches. Terrace Marshall is in his 3rd season, and he has not displayed any credible ability to be a problem solver. He has potential, right? You talk about the jump ball capability. You know, he's a tall guy, tall and lanky dude. Where is that attribute being shown? Has he been given the opportunity to showcase those abilities? And you could say one way or another, but regardless of the fact, and we talk about results again, the results are just not there. And it's just frustrating to see because, again, coming into this game, you know what was the big talk coming in? The rumor mill that everybody was talking about? Carolina is in the market for a receiver. And part of the reason why they're in a market for a receiver right now is because they don't have people on the roster who can solve a problem. Can you get open? Can you figure out how to gain separation? And again, another part of it is the play calling and the coaching staff. But when you're out there on the field, you've got to have the ability to say, hey, look, I have a problem and I have a solution to that problem. Go out and make the play, and we just don't have that capability right now, and it's so frustrating to see because we need that for our rookie quarterback.
DJ Chark with 2 receptions on 3 targets, 18 yards was the long.
Could be better.
Why don't you try to throw it to him? You know, 2 weeks in a row, what happens when you throw Chark a deep ball?
Something happens, yeah.
Something happens. Either he's going to catch it, or he's been getting some calls where the ball still gets advanced down the field. Why can't you throw the guy the ball?
There was one instance of that today in the 3rd quarter on that drive where Bryce Young fumbled the ball. They threw it deep for the first time in the game. That was the first time they had a deep shot called in the game, and it immediately got called for holding on the defense. So whenever you take those risks, whenever you go vertical, chances are something is going to happen and something's going to come up from it. So again, it's a frustration thing that I see where it's like, come on, they're playing up high, there's nobody deep. Take your shot and expose the defense and expand the defense as well.
Speaking about the defense, we had a guy that did very well today, but let's go ahead and just
Jump
talk
right
through
into
some
it,
of these.
yeah.
We got Von Bell led all players with 7 tackles today. Jeremy Chin had a nice game, 6 tackles, had a sack, as well as a tackle for a loss.
Mm-hmm.
And then C.J. Henderson. How do you think C.J. Henderson played today?
I didn't hear a lot of his name today.
Yeah.
So in that sense, it's a good thing.
Yeah.
You know, you don't ever, it's just like with the offensive line. You don't ever want to hear somebody's name on the O-line. If you don't hear their name, that must mean they're doing something right. I felt like he had a respectable game. You know, for Justin Jefferson, as I look at their receiving totals, to only have 85 yards throughout the whole game today, that's respectable. You know, he's somebody that's going to make an impact regardless of how well you may play up against him. But to only hold him to 85 yards, he did have 2 touchdowns. But I thought they did a respectable job on Justin Jefferson today, and mainly it was C.J. Henderson covering him. Dante Jackson, a guy who got hurt, he had a couple of rookies come in and make an impact. Deshaun Jameson was the primary guy that was defending Justin Jefferson. He did give up a touchdown. But I think overall, you know, for the secondary, I thought they did a respectable job. They didn't get burnt on too many plays like I thought they would. A lot of intermediate routes were open today, but nobody beat them over the top today, which was, to me, a win in that regard.
I got a comment I'll just share offline about what's going on
Right.
over there. But I will say this. Unfortunately, it only took us 4 games. I wish I had a cameraman who could like pan and zoom in on me right now because I give this dramatic look. It took us a whopping 1 month into the season before the Carolina Panthers defense is playing without starting cornerback J.C. Horn and Dante Jackson. I'm not happy about it, but I'm just pointing out that concern was, hey, these 2 guys and their injuries and some depth and how we should use them. And we're 4 weeks into the season, And I don't know how long Dante's going to be out. It just may be. He may be fine for going and playing against Detroit here next week. But we do have JC we hadn't heard about it, but he's going to be out for a while. So that's a lot of bad stuff is happening on this defense. But this defense they're persevering.
They are.
They are actually, to me, deserve a little gold star for how well they're playing. As he mentioned, Justin Jefferson did not have 100 yards. Coming into the game today, he was all like 149 plus, and every game pretty much unstoppable. You had an undrafted rookie that was playing against him, and he got a catch on him, but it was just one. So this defense is making adjustments. They're doing things, the next man up mentality and come. It's a tale of two halves. Our offense they're not getting the same kind of coaching and player execution that the defense has. We still have a tale of two halves. It was, I believe, off the top of my head, don't crucify me, 13 to, hold on, it was 10-0 at one point in this game.
Yep.
And I believe the end of the first half was 13-3. Is that right?
I believe so.
13-3 in that first half. And here's what happened in the second half. The third quarter of the game, the Minnesota Vikings score 14 points. The Carolina Panthers scored 0 points. And we didn't score any in the fourth quarter. That is still a huge problem that is going on with this team. I don't care if you get a wide receiver. I don't care if you get one lineman. Your coaches need to be able to make an adjustment at the half where there should be no reason. If you look at the stat sheet for every single game this season, probably can go into last season as well. Not too much though, because my boy Steve Wilkes did his thing. So just go to the Matt Rule part. But you will see that we're being out. I want to hit the desk. We're being out-coached terribly in that second half to where we can score no points and we'll allow them to score 14 points. So I'm going to come off my soapbox on that. But to me, that's still the biggest problem is like halftime adjustments with this coaching staff. Now, the defense still played okay, but maybe I'm done because I was going too much. You want to go ahead and take some questions from the fans?
Yeah,
we got
let's
about
do
18
it.
minutes left, all right?
Yeah, let's do it.
So, big ask here is that super chats, you get priority. So if you want to make sure that your question comes through, feel free to do a super chat, help support this independent channel. Also, the biggest priority, those who want to click on the link and join us live via video. Let us know your questions, your comments. We're here to help. And otherwise, until we get those, we'll go through some of these comments here. And also, if you want to win a prize, if you want to win free merchandise, that link is in the description. And we're going to go ahead and give away a jersey. Not today, but here's what I'm going to do. Once a month, we're going to give away an actual game jersey. I'm not saying game worn. I'm not saying it's going to be autographed. Please don't take it there and have PR come to me saying, hey, what are you doing? Oh, I'm running after the field getting autographs. No.
Hey, we already had people coming after us today.
Yeah, we don't want that.
We don't want to add to the list of run-ins,
No
right?
smoke over here for us. Casseday and Jenkins does not want any smoke. We want the simple life.
Yeah,
so
that sounds like a good law firm there. Casseday Jenkins.
Casseday and Jenkins.
Flip-flop it, whatever sounds better.
Yes.
That sounds pretty good.
All right, so we're going to try to go through these. And let's see here. Andre, I'm going to let you lead a bunch of these responses here. Incredible how much damage the choices made this year are going to do to this team. That is from McQuacks. I like that.
He must be the long cousin of Donald Duck or something.
If you haven't met him, you got to meet him.
Yeah, but it's a very interesting comment because that's been the thing with Scott Fitterer and the debate that people have had. How much are you willing to leverage your future for instant success? And, with the Bryce Young trade, that is going to be the tagline that people are going to use, especially now because we haven't had much success throughout the season to start out. And we heard about the rumors with them potentially being in the market for, a potential number one receiver. How much are they going to leverage their assets in order to obtain that receiver and potentially have success in this season? It's a question that we're going to have to really think about over these next coming weeks because he wants to be in on every deal, but can you have the flexibility to be on every deal when you're not putting out wins every single week and the results are just not showing up? So it's going to be interesting to see what these kinds of trades that he's had in the past, what the results are, what come of it, because so far it's been a lot of swing and misses, especially as of late.
You saw that? I'm going to put you on the clock. That's actually us being on the clock, so I want to get through as many comments as can be. So 1 minute per comment is what we're going to try to limit ourselves to. So this is only 15 seconds to respond here.
Okay.
How do we leverage when we don't have any picks? Does that mean the good gracious, does that mean the Brian Burns piece is now crucial to us making a move?
You may have to. You may have to, because again, what assets do we really have? That's something that's going to get caught up pretty soon.
We're at time. I got to keep it going.
Let's do it.
Walt G says he's definitely not happy.
I feel that for sure.
He says, where do I register? So Walt G, where you register for our giveaways should be in the description.
Yep.
If it is not in the description, Andre's going to check for me because I'm not sure. It's been a blur today.
Oh, no, it actually is
All right, it's not in the description. So don't worry. The next video, because y'all know you watch a lot, we'll make sure that we put it in the future videos. Nothing to register for at this point because it's already closed for the current giveaway that we're going to do tonight or tomorrow. But stay tuned tomorrow. It will definitely be in the description for you. Leonard Kowalski says the paper bag is out. Hey, can you put some good food in that paper bag, and I'll let you come up to the to the press box, because I am now getting vocal and letting you guys know that our post halftime and post-game food is a little to be desired. Rakeem Lewis, Frank Reich, and Scott Fitterer need to go.
Hey, I can't say yes to Frank Reich yet. It's been a rough start, but somebody who has been here for a couple seasons now, Scott Fitterer, the seat is definitely getting warmer. And as the weeks go by and wins are not piling up, it's just going to become an inferno. So definitely not looking good for him.
And then we got a good one here.
Oh, wow.
We got a good one here. I'm going to read this one to you.
Okay.
Should have kept Sam Darnold and our draft picks one more year to rebuild our O-line and offensive weapons. We still could have had DJ Moore and drafted a quarterback next year. L for Scott Fitterer. I don't want to give this one to you, but I said I was, so I'm going to give it to you. You're on the clock. Go.
Hey, hindsight is 2020, right? It's 2020. I mean, hey.
Did I throw you off with the high five?
No, you did not.
Okay.
I mean, hey, we could all say that there are things that we could have did in the past that we're like, hey, that was a mistake. But looking back on it now, maybe that is the case. But time will still tell whether or not, my bad, whether or not that statement will hold to be true or not. Jeez, I almost took out your computer there. My bad.
Well, we still got 30 seconds, so I'll chime in here.
Yeah.
No. No. Now, maybe we could have hired some better coaches, but there's no way you're going to tell me I should not have the #1 pick overall in the draft to rebuild my team and keep Sam Darnold. He's out there in San Francisco, and to my knowledge, he's not putting up any numbers. Why? Because he's not good enough to be the starter, all right? So you could say I'll draw a blank, but a coach from last year, what was his name?
Steve Wilkes.
All right, we're at a minute, so I'm going to keep going. See, I'm even cutting myself off here. I am going to do right because I want to get through some of these questions here some more. All right, so we got Nam. I like this guy's name. Should have stayed at 8. Get Khalid next draft. I'm out on Frank and Bryce. I'll give you a second on that.
Yeah. So then my question is, who would have you taken at that 8th spot? There are a lot of names out there that could have potentially been on this team. But again, this is another one of those situations where hindsight is 2020. You make moves and they're risky, but you can't be complacent and you have to take risks. And they decided to take a risk, and so far it has not panned out, but there's still time for it to turn around and get that return on investment.
All right, I am going to take this next one, I think. Yes,
Okay.
I will, because I want to talk about this. Leonard Kowalski said the offense had 6 points, 3 of those a 56-yard field goal. Absolutely. So we had turnovers was a key. I played that clip earlier about Thomas Brown talking about they have to eliminate the turnover. We actually did the defense a disservice because they basically gave us 10 points.
Yeah.
The defense did. We got the 7 points with the interception. We got a long field goal off of another interception.
Mm-hmm.
That's 10 points. And yes, you're right, Kowalski. We only got 3 after that. Final score is 13. What was the final score?
21-13.
That's why this guy's here. Which, by the way, let me apologize to you. You know, you're the first returning co-host that we've ever had. And how do we treat you in your return?
Hey,
David Tepper, if you're out there watching, help me have a good employee retention rate and do better, okay? Because this guy is out here for the second year. I'm excited. The fans are excited meeting this guy. And we're technically 0-7, 0-4 in the regular season, 0-3 in the preseason with your new staff, okay? Do better, please. But, yeah, the offense, that's probably my minute. I'm with you. They are not doing enough, and it's a very complex problem on why they're not doing enough. You can't. It's not just one. But let me continue to move through. I'm
getting outscored by your own defense, not a good look.
Joaquin Lewis says Jameson played better than Dante. He held his own.
Ooh, that's an interesting one right there. And remember, this guy came from San Francisco. I remember Steve Wilkes, their defensive coordinator, was talking very highly of him. Unfortunately, they weren't able to keep him, which is good for us because we were able to bring him in. He's a pretty stout guy, relatively quick, and yeah, he did hold his own. He had a couple of nice plays, a couple of tackles for loss, and really made his name known. And again, that next man up mentality with these younger guys filling in for these veterans who have gotten hurt. That's another example of that right there.
All right. Continue to move on. Stop it. Frank Reich is either the worst or second worst in Panthers history.
Off of 4 games? Come on, fellas.
Yeah, Mark, you can't say that off of 4 games. Here's why you can't say it after 4 games. How many people said that Ron Rivera was just terrible? Just terrible.
I remember that.
And he turned it around. So it's the same thing you say with Bryce. There's a lot of people that are upset about Bryce, but it's only 4 games. And he is a terrible coach if, honestly, if in 8 weeks by week 8, we're still saying the same exact things and he's not changing. So I did want to see some improvements. I know I was saying that I would like to wait until we had a few more games under our belt because I wanted to see what kind of changes this coaching staff is making. I'm not that happy. I'm not that impressed. I can't say that I feel like things are going to change, but I'm not yet ready to say, all right, you should get him out of here. Because let me pose this question to you, Mark, and I got to keep timing on myself here, so I think I'm over the time. Let's say let's say the fans can call the shots, all right? So right now, what are you going to do, fans? I'm going to fire Frank Reich. Okay, Frank, you're out of here. Bryce Young, you're a bust. Put Andy Dalton out there. All right, Bryce, you go to the bench. Tell me who's going to be your head coach after you fire Frank. I don't know, maybe you could say Thomas Brown.
That's an option.
And then Andy Dalton, you just come out here and you start, and Bryce, you sit on the sideline. Would you watch? I mean, I know everybody would watch for the first week because you're excited there's change, but what happens after that? All right, I went over. You got to help watch the buzzer on me, all right, so I can get through and talk to some of these people. Here's Donald Duck.
Here we go.
Move the team to Raleigh at this point. The attendance is sad. I don't know what ASF stands for, but I'm sure there's a exclamatory word in there. Do you know what ASF stands for?
No, but I'm still trying to decipher his comment. Let me just say this. Our attendance was actually pretty good. We had 72,000 fans in attendance for today's game, so it's not like, we had empty seats. It was just more purple gear in the stands. I would say that would be more of an appropriate thing to say in regards to that. Continued opponent fandom being shown at Bank of America Stadium. I think that's more of the criticism that needs to be talked about. Moving the team to Raleigh, I don't know about that one, man.
There's so much Can you help unhook me here real quick? I'm gonna show you guys something.
Yeah.
That just for a good laugh here.
Go for it.
Because we said there's a lot of purple, right?
Yeah. A lot of purple
here
in
at the
the
stadium. They took it to all-time highs.
This is a new one right
just
here.
Off the screen here. Look at this. Purple wire.
Everywhere today, man.
There is indeed purple everywhere. I don't know who has a purple wire. I can't say I've never seen a purple, but nevertheless.
Yeah, we don't want to take their wires too.
No, we don't want to get vindictive for what happened to us in Atlanta.
Exactly.
Stealing stuff. Hopefully not on purpose. All right, let's continue to work through some of these comments here. My man C-Dog. C-Dog, did you get your gift? Maybe you've already told me. I don't know, but C-Dog, let me know. C-Dog was one of our first winners of the gear that we had to give away. All right, here's another comment here.
Okay.
I'm going to throw this one to you. Hey, Chris and Andre, this is from B Stallion. Team just not getting it done. How is clock management so consistently poor? Why are in-game and halftime adjustments non-existent? It's just tough watching a team implode on itself.
Yeah, let's talk on the clock management, right? That one is just so infuriating because, again, that stuff is so controllable, right? Quicker communication, lack of communication, whatever it may be, it's combining to the point to where we're having issues with getting the playoff in time. And again, it's just so mind-blowing that we're in week 4 and we're still having these issues with clock management that has immediately got to get cleaned up. And then on your second point with the halftime adjustments, just look at our title of this video, the tale of two halves. If we had the first half and we just say, hey, that's the end of the game, the end of the half is at the end of the game there, I feel like we'd be 4-0 right now because we've had a lead, I believe, in every single game after the first half. Now, I may be wrong in that regard, but we would still have a winning record regardless. So, again, that second half on script is when we start to see the mistakes and we implode, and we're our own worst enemy. It's not something that Minnesota did. It was mistakes on our own end of the field that caused Minnesota to take advantage of those opportunities given to them.
Hey, let me do a little flashback, and we'll continue to move on. That previous comment on the attendance, lost my train of thought. Here it is. It was so much purple in this stadium. It was a sequence in which, I forget the start of the play, but I know they were about right down here in the red zone. Well, you guys don't know where we are, but we're standing by the 20-yard line on the field. And it was a good play. And suddenly, the Carolina Panthers players are doing this, like, hey, get quiet. Stop all the noise. Stop cheering for us. We need to call this play. And then the Minnesota Vikings players were like, oh, yeah? And they started waving their hands like this. Hey, get louder, get louder. And guess what happened?
It got louder.
It got louder in the stadium. It got louder. I also saw on Twitter where, I guess it's Skol. I don't know the exact thing, but something about Skol for the Minnesota Vikings is what they do. And we do
Skol chant.
The Skol chant, and we do the keep pounding. And on Twitter, somebody said, wow, the keep pounding chant just got drowned out and shut down by the Skol chant. So that's kind of like a whole other issue. But it's an issue that stems from a lack of performance on the field where people aren't coming to the games and willing to give up their tickets.
Simply put, we're just not defending our dirt, as Thomas Davis would always say when he played with Carolina.
It's turf now, man.
It's turf now. Before it was dirt, but regardless of the fact, the results are not in our favor right now.
All right, we're approaching a 2-minute warning. I'm going to take one. You'll take one.
Okay.
Thank everybody for tuning in to the show so far. It's been a pleasure talking with you all. I am going to put up this from David Chisholm. He says, hey, Chris, still think this offense isn't vanilla? So obviously, David, I must have said that in the past. Andre's already laughing. I think I'd be very unprofessional if I didn't say that it's something. It's certainly not a...
it's not vanilla.
One of my favorite things I like to get is a banana split blizzard mixed with Heath. Has lots of different ingredients and components to it.
Yeah, some variety there.
Yeah, some variety in there. It's definitely not my favorite blizzard to order at Dairy Queen because it's just like 5 yards down the field, screen left, screen right, bubble screen, motion screen, run up the middle, run up the middle, run up the middle. Oh crap, it's 3rd and 12. All right, guys, we gotta go long. Okay, I know that I told you we wouldn't. Yeah, it's not good enough. And Bryce is smart enough, and so something's not happening there. Something's not happening. I don't know if it's a combo of Frank and Bryce, because it was just so different last week for Andy. I don't get it. So that's my last question. I'm going to throw you one.
Okay.
Hopefully I'll give you a good one. See, I'm going to try to give you a good one to end on here.
Vanilla, more like spoiled milk. That's my take on
milk.
that comment there. Okay, all right.
You want that one from Jaron?
Let's do it. It looked like a pretty lengthy one, so There's definitely
I'm going to give you this one.
Okay.
Oh, no. Let's see. I'm trying to end on a good one.
and on a positive note.
No,
right?
I don't want to say on a positive. All right, I'm just going to pick this one because I
Okay.
don't think we've had a comment from this guy. Bro man. This team is trash. I don't see a winnable game on this schedule.
Does he not see the Bears game on Thursday Night Football? Is that not a winnable game? I mean, they're also 0-4 as well, so somebody's got to win that game. There are definitely
We're 0-1 in winnable games though, where somebody has to win.
Right. So again, based on paper, yeah, it doesn't look too favorable for us right now. But there are games that Carolina are going to have to play here this season where on paper they're going to be projected to lose that game, or they may shock us, and that game could be next week against Detroit. They're obviously the better team, 3-1. They may go into Detroit and actually win a game. I mean, you never know. But yeah, it does not look favorable right now. But again, this is why you play the games on Sunday, because, hey, just because it says it on paper doesn't mean it's actually going to happen.
Yeah, and we got to round up because our batteries are probably going to die. I'm going to give you guys a very good job today, Mr. Casseday, by the way.
Appreciate it.
The Atlanta Falcons lost today to the Jacksonville Jaguars in London.
Okay.
We also have the Buccaneers
beating
the Saints today, 26-9. So your current NFC South standings would be at the very top of the NFC South. Tampa Bay Buccaneers are 3-1. Atlanta Falcons and New Orleans Saints tied at 2-2.
Okay.
Carolina Panthers at 0-4. So, Andre, go ahead and wrap us up, man.
I have to wrap up after that, man. That's tough.
I can wrap us up.
That's tough, but hey.
We can do papers, rock, scissors.
I think I got it, though.
All right.
I'm going to try and put a positive spin.
I'm going to give you
right?
your.
I'm going to try to. I mean, it's going to be tough, but we're going to try and make it happen. Look, folks, we are 0-4 indeed. By any stretch of the imagination, that is a record that we don't want to be, a record we don't want to have. The last time that we were 0-3, 0-4 was back in 2010 with the likes of Jimmy Clausen and John Fox. So things don't look pretty right now. All the energy that we had to start out the season is kind of out the window. So where do we go from here? Well, obviously we're going to hit the road next week in Detroit, and we're going to try and do it again and try to get better and try to see where we can make some improvements and, try to get something going here. Again, this is the first quarter of the season. And while I feel like we've been saying this for a while, hey, it's only this point in the year. We're only, in the early part of the year. We're going to hit to that point where if we don't start winning these games, it's going to continue to start getting uglier and uglier. So we're going to try and keep a positive attitude here at the Charlotte Vibe. We're going to try and, keep all of you informed and be reputable sources out there for all of you. But regardless of the fact, we're going to be here through thick and thin. Chris and I, we love what we do, and we're going to do it no matter what. So, again, for everybody out there for the Charlotte Vibe, we're at 0-4. But we're going to continue going and grinding out that content for everybody out there. So here at Bank of America Stadium, on the behalf of Chris Jenkins, I'm Andre Casseday for the Charlotte Vibe. Have a good evening, everybody. Take care.